born, at that time. So, now I'm 71 years old, but I came when I was a young man, and the people in Culebra, they welcomed me, and Jack Vincent, the people that are here, you have to know about Jack Vincent, because he was the first American to come and live here. He was in Vieques. They say I was the second, 1967, but Jack became my second father. I was only like 21 years old when I came here. So yesterday I did a little interview with a community radio station, and one of the questions was, how did I get to be an activist here in Culebra? And I want to share with you that tipping point for me. I came from New York City, grew up in the Bronx, and that was the time of the Vietnam War. And that time they had a draft, and if you didn't want to go and kill people in Vietnam, you had to either be a student or be married or be a father. So I was all of those. And then I decided I'm going to go to Culebra because I knew that this place was abundant with the small tropical fish. And that's how I made my living, collecting very small, colorful, beautiful. You need to go snorkeling here. If you're not into snorkeling, you're missing one of the best aspects of Culebra. I've been snorkeling every day for the past 3 days. Unfortunately, a lot of the corals here in Culebra have died. The ones that were living when I was here 40 years ago, a lot of those corals have died. But what I did notice was that there is some new coral growth. There are some new corals that are growing, so I don't know what happened in the 40 years since I left. Maybe global warming, climate change. But anyway, back to the point. When you were in the observation post, you could see that was a commanding view of the Northwest Peninsula. At that time, there were probably 20 targets on that Northwest Peninsula, from the gate all the way out to the end. And the targets were those tanks. There's a couple of tanks still there. But the Navy used to post a schedule right in front of the foyer of the activities that they were going to do for that day. I went to check every day. I had to check because I don't want to go if they're having, all kinds of maniobras, right? So nothing scheduled for the ship to shore. So I figured, okay, I'm going to go to the far side of Los Peños, which is a beautiful place. And if you can get there by boat, the far side, not where the beach is, the next cove around the beach. That was unbelievably productive and shallow, not too deep, place for getting tropical fish. That's where I was. Diving with my wife, Susan, I'm sure you all remember her. My son, Andy, he's probably 5 years old, in the boat. We used to take him in the boat all over the So I'm collecting fish, and all of a sudden, a big explosion right where I am. And I get in underwater. I get rocked under the water. It was the explosion was so powerful. It like jolted me underwater. I came up. My son was crying. It was a big explosion above the water as well.
You don't have the Theoclatus book that the way, right?
United States Navy didn't
I
care
forgot
about
that because
Can you get
my
him to move
life, much
just
less
to the
the
right a
lives
little
of
bit?
the 300 people that were living here. So from that point on, coming from New York City and knowing about trying to not get drafted to go into a war, I decided I'm gonna do everything that I can to help the people to get the Navy out. And as I look back on that experience, it was incredible. The other thing I just wanted to tell you about was maybe some of you have seen the video where my wife Susan was parked our boat above the where they gathered all of the unexploded ordnance, and they stacked it, unfortunately, all on the reef. Instead of taking it all out onto the sand, they put all this unexploded ordnance on the reef, and then put a charge on it, and blew up centuries worth of growth of the coral. I never in my life had a feeling that don't get me wrong, that I wanted to kill somebody, because I was in my boat, I heard the explosion, I went around the corner, and I see hundreds, thousands of dead fish floating on the water. Beautiful tropical fish, angelfish, all that stuff. So from that point on, I was gung-ho. Susan took our boat out and sat on top of those bombs. Same day I went to federal court in San Juan with an injunction prepared by Mr. Kopekin. The judge, when the Navy came in, all shiny with the gold, shiny shoes. They said, no, we're not doing that anymore. And the judge, didn't sign that injunction. But that very same day, the ABC film crew got a whole sequence of blowing up the coral. The judge saw that on TV that night. The next day, he granted the injunction back to the sky, destroying the reefs of Culebra. I went to Lower Camp that night, where the underwater demolition team. I said, where did you ever learn to blow up the reefs? Where did you ever do this kind of activity before? They told me that they did it in Cuba all the time. So anyway, it was a struggle, but here we are 40 years later, and now the new struggle is to contain the development that's happening here. It's so dramatically different than when I came. So you have like a new thing that you're a resident here. You need to get yourself organized, try, take a step back, take a look back, see all the development, and then maybe plan a little bit more for the development. Hey, electric, water, gotta have that.